I think that vampirism as a phenomenon, or the vampire as a symbol, is absolutely, open to interpretation in many, many ways. Vampirism is an addiction. It can be interpreted as an erotic proclivity, can be interpreted as a religious analogy. It can be, it lends itself to play with it. You can make it political, you can make it social, sexual, anything. When you read about vampirism all over the world, you realize that every culture has interpreted the vampire in a certain way. Malaysian vampires, for example, detach from the body and use their intestines to wrap around the victim and so forth. Chinese vampires are different. They can turn into foxes, into cats, so on and so forth. Mexican vampires look like chihuahuas in a way. They are completely hairless, and they do not have pointed teeth, and you can continue.
Vampires do have a universal appeal because they're sexy. They're monsters, but they're still human monsters. They look human, and they effectively live forever.
Vampires are very cool and very sexy in a way. It's something like they're evil, but you're drawn to them, because like with Dracula, he's a babe magnet, So I think that people just they think it's exciting. It's a very sexual thing or erotic thing with vampires and all the biting and all that kind of thing.
I think any child, when you tell him a vampire story, will start opening his eyes and start, fantasizing about it. It's so deeply engraved in our culture, in our, fantasies, in our fears and dreams, sucking out blood, living out of flesh, the thirst. And it's such a, for me, it's such a sexual thing still, because it's sensual and it's carnal.
The fascination of young people with vampires is because that's the only age where you can think you're going to live forever. And when you feel like that, and you throw absolutely every caution to the wind, you truly are immortal for a little bit. And I think that is what makes it, both vampirism and youth, very fragile and very beautiful.
Truth is, I think a lot of people would want to be vampires. You don't really age. If you get hurt, you regenerate. You're stronger than humans. You're faster than humans. The sex is probably better than human sex. So why not be a vampire? It's kind of a sexy proposition.
Goyer's on crack. No, I don't think everybody. I think that a lot of people, especially when you're young, and when you're really old, I think that in the middle you're too busy paying the bills. Or trying to get out of kindergarten with your eyes intact. I think that when you're young, you dream of preserving that youth and that freedom. And when you're really old, you long for that youth that you lost. But I think that the secret desire to live eternally it's a very romantic notion of vampirism.
I was tired of the Anne Rice vampire sensibility. Not that she hasn't made a huge contribution to the genre, but I just think that kind of thing has dominated vampire films for so long that we wanted to take it in a different direction.
It's almost Byronian. It's very much like the Byronian vampire comes to fruit in Anne Rice's novels. It's the romantic hero per excellence. In Kronos, it was more about making a little tale about Catholic guilt, addiction, religious catharsis, and so forth, and about a guy that finds out that he is alive only after he dies, and how worthy his life really was, and how you really reach immortality when you give up everything. A very Catholic view. And with us, we try to deal with them in other terms. They are, as I said, they can be the drug dealers of that universe. Or they can be, in this case, the dirty dozen of the universe. But you can deal with them in terms that are more pulpish and more comic. Anne Rice's sensibility is more high-reaching and more literary and more, the aspirations are more Byronian. We're just pulp. We're just pure pulp, and I like it. I love the idea of taking something pulp and then elaborating it visually with a lot of care. You know, I think that the product that comes out is really a very nice confection. I hope one day to do a movie about vampires that have been alive for so long that they don't really care about anything anymore. Because I really think that after 500 years, you would get a little jaded.